Instagram. I was kind of hesitant about doing this. I was kind of nervous, but I am here despite everything that happened, despite anybody that's saying anything, negating any hate, any envy, jealousy, anything. I'm just here to pinpoint and give everything, any strife, any malice, anything you have against somebody. I'm praying that when you watch this or you read this or you see this somewhere, that you're not only transformed, but you're just renewed, and you're doing what you want in your life, as far as business wise, as far as career wise, as far as family wise, that you be made a new woman, to where when they was talking about you, it doesn't even affect you the same way that when they talk about the man you were or the boy you were, to where you at a point now to where you see your life going a totally different way. So as we begin to embark on this journey on this live, I'm asking that you just invite somebody, that you just show somebody, that you just clap, that you just do anything that your mind is capable of, and that you just receive something. I'm not worried about the viewers, I'm not worried about the comments, I'm not worried about anything, because at the end of the day, it's God's doing. And I thank the ones who come on here, the ones who join, the ones who see, the ones who know, and the ones who just show what is being done in my life. Today, we have something very big. We have something very transparent to us, but we also have something that is applying to right now in our daily lives. If you do have your Bibles, like I said, I'm trying my best not to teach. I know I have to get out of that, but if you do have your Bibles, and if you don't have your Bibles, I will read for you, and it's kind of different, so it may read a little different from your Bible. But I'm going to go to 2 Corinthians 5:21. No, let me see. Because I said I was going to do that one, but I may do one better for you guys, so that we could, like I said, we could all be on the same page today. So the reading is coming from Genesis 50:20, and we all know with this, it's the beginning of times, the beginning of everything, the beginning of the era, the beginning of the Bible, however we want to, transfer it or transcribe it, but it's the beginning of everything. So with this being said, we also have to understand that this is the beginning. So as I begin to read, always put in your mind that this is the beginning. Genesis 50:20. Now this is dealing with Joseph and his brothers. Joseph, if you don't know the story of Joseph, Joseph was sold into captivity. He was sold into slavery by his own brothers. He began to get a high ranking, and he didn't forget about his brothers who forgot about him and tried to sell him. He didn't despise them, didn't look down on them, but instead he still blessed them, even though they tried to harm him. Now as I begin to read, you intended to harm me. Somebody remember that. You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. He brought me to this position so I could save the lives of many. If I had to just topic this or just put something on it, I would put, through the pain, it was still a process. Through the pain, it was still a process. What are you saying, preacher? Before I dig in the text, let me just talk about what's going on now. Through the pain, through the pandemic, through the hate, through the envy, through everything, through people not talking, through people not speaking, through people getting sick, through people dealing with family members being gone, through the pain, there was still a process. Can I go a little deeper in it? Why I got people still joining? Can I dig a little deeper? Through you not finding a job, through you not doing what you felt like you were having to do, God's still saying, hey, it's still a process. Can I go a little deeper? Because I feel like you're getting it, but you're not getting the full concept. Okay, in Philadelphia, the 76ers, I know basketball season is far away and we're not watching it. I know a lot of men are going crazy, but the Philadelphia 76ers have a motto that says, trust the process. Joel Embiid reps this well. He says, trust the process. Every interview, through whether a win or a loss, he still says, trust the process. They said, well, you had all these points, or you did this, or you did that, and you still lost or you won. How do you feel? He said, I still have to trust the process. Despite of going to the playoffs, despite a regular season game, I'm still going to trust the process. What are you saying right now, Mykal? Through everything I went through in my life, I had to trust the process. Through me being lied on, through me being backbited, through me going through hell, through me lacking confidence, through me not finding my purpose in life, it was still a process through the pain. Because when I felt the world weighing on me, when I felt people pressing against me, when I felt that my back was against the wall and I couldn't swing, I still had a process to go through. That's like, but we have to understand that, okay, well, God, it's hurting me and I'm dealing with it and I don't know how to go through it, but I'm trying to be here and I'm trying to understand you. But God is saying, hey, I know it hurts. I know it doesn't feel well. I know it doesn't make you feel good all the time, but understand this, that with this pain, it's still a process. And when I'm dealing with you when it's painful, imagine how you're going to feel when you're comfortable. I was reading something and it talked about the coronavirus pandemic, and it said, well, a lot of people are recovering. And they asked one recovering patient, they said, well, how did you deal with the pain? Did you take proper precaution? Did you take medicine? Did you take anything? The patient said, no, I just simply said, I'm going to get over this pain. And they said, well, that's one thing to do, but did you feel lightheaded? They started naming out symptoms, and the patient still shook his head and said, you still don't get it. They said, well, what are you saying we don't get? They said, even through this pain, I had to talk to somebody. I'm gonna go there, but I'm gonna stop here first. Through that pain, through that envy, through that, I still had to talk to somebody. And somebody right now is dealing with some pain and they're afraid to talk to the way maker. They're afraid to talk to God because they feel like, well, he doesn't know my pain. But we're talking to somebody who sent his son on the cross that dealt with every pain possible. Anything you could imagine, 10 times worse. You're talking, you're understanding somebody, and you're dealing with somebody who not only knows your pain but feels your pain, that died for it over 2,000 years ago. But we feel like, well, I can't go to God, so I'm gonna go to my friends. Well, I can't go to my friends, so I'm gonna go to social media. And we wonder why we get laughed at, and we wonder why when we walk in rooms, instead of people trying to help us, they laugh at us because they don't want to fix the problem. As long as you have a problem, they can laugh at you. As long as you have a problem, they can gloat at you. As long as you have a problem, they can do all these things but try to help. But when you go to the one that tries to help and he gets you over that problem, no longer will you feel like you can't go to nobody. No longer will you feel hurt. No longer will you feel like, well, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Any problem you deal with, you say, well, I'm going to give it to God. And I know a lot of people not going to join this live, but I speak it today that God is still going to deal with your pain, but you still have to trust the process. Now, as we break down this, I'm not going to be on here long. As we break down this, it says you intended to harm me. That's personal. It says you intended to harm me. What are you saying? He's talking to his brothers. Joseph is talking to his brothers right here. He said, well, you intended to harm me. Personal. You intended to do something to me that you know was bad, that I knew was bad, but you still decided to do it. And that second part says, but God. So a lot of people right now is in a but God situation. Can I be clear? You struggle from Monday, you struggle from Sunday all the way to Tuesday, today, getting to work and getting back and forth what you need to do, but God gave you gas in your car. You were stuck in the house because your job said, well, we don't need you to show up anymore. We just gonna give you this unemployment check, and you didn't have enough food, but God gave you enough money in the account to not only feed yourself, but feed others in your household. You said your marriage wasn't gonna work and you was gonna give up and you was gonna sign the divorce papers, but God, He didn't send them through the mail carrier because God said, I still want you to work. And through this work and through this pain, and you feel like, well, they're not talking to me, they're not speaking to me, and they are not loving me. God says, it's still a process. You can pray to me, you can have faith in me, but it's still a process. I know that you love me, but I want your actions to prove more than your words. And too many times we say, well, okay, that's good, God. Well, you saying my actions and you saying this. Okay, I'm going to church, I'm doing this, I'm feeling good, I'm getting my hair done, I'm wearing suits. But God says it's not about the outside appearance. It's not about people clapping. It's not about any of that. It's about what you have in your heart for me. And too many times we're pouring out into the wrong glasses. We pour our pain out into other people's pain. We pour our envy out into other people's envy. And we wonder why we're not being refilled, because God says, I can't do anything with contaminated water. I can't do anything with a contaminated spirit. God says, either you're going to live with me or you're going to die with them. And yes, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a daily journey, and it's going to be a rigorous course. But God says today that through the process, your pain will be healed. I was molested, I was raped, I was doing all of this, God, and I don't feel like I can go to anybody. God says, hey, listen, sister, hey, listen, son. I've been at every ball game. I've been at every church event you went to. I've been at every sleepover. I seen it happen, and when you felt like I wasn't there, I was. They may have did it to you, but it's not the person you are today. They may have said all that to you, but there's not the person that they made you to be. They may have said a lot of things to you and did a lot of things to you, but that's not who you are standing in me today. And God says, yeah, okay, well, it happened to you. And years ago, you may have felt like I wasn't there, but I was always there in the spirit. And through your pain, through your giving up, God says it's still a process. God says the things you were dealing with when you were 6 years old and 16 years old, you still have to get over. And I know it hurts. I know the pain hurts, and I know the mental pain hurts, but God says it's still a process. I'm just wanting you to trust in me. Somebody say, trust in me. You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. He brought me to this position so I can save the light of many. So you have to understand that when dealing with this, when understanding that, okay, well, what are you saying? He brought me to this position. God will take the worst of us, the unclean of us, the unjust of us that the world sees, and make the best of us. He will take the ones who people don't want around. He will take the ones who, well, the business say, well, we just gonna make you a janitor. He will take the ones that say, well, okay, the church is calling you out. They're saying you nothing but a member, but I speak life in you. When people begin to negate you and hate on you and they feel like you're not doing anything, God says, I'm still going to provide for you. And somebody right now, somebody's saying, God, well, I went off course and I did this and I did that. And I don't know if the love is still there. God still is going to love you. If we're being truthful, if we're being honest to the people who's watching right now, to the ones coming and tag anybody, whoever, just bring them all in. But to the ones watching, we feel like as the youth, as the millennials, as the new era, they call it Generation X. But I decree and declare that X be turned into a T, because I'm respecting to the one that died on the T. And if we transform the T is the cross. But we have to understand that reading this text, when he said you intended to harm me, a lot of people been harmed. Not physically, but mentally, because we see on social media, we see on our family members, we see on TV, we see everyone on these outlets that well, they have a car at this age, they have a house at this age, they have this at this age, and it's intended to harm me because it's trying to make me something I'm not yet. They want me to have a house by 25, but God says that's not on your timeline yet. When I give it to you, that's when it's going to be there. But it's not on your timeline yet. And too many times we try to rush the process. Too many times we try to inject something in us that God says, hey, I didn't even prescribe that to you. I didn't give that to you yet. So why are you trying to rush it? God got you in the passenger seat for a reason. But instead of sitting in the passenger seat, we want to take over and try to drive. We want to take over and try to direct our own course. And God said, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to navigate you. You don't need a GPS. You don't need a blinker. You don't need a rearview mirror, because I'm taking you from where they thought you was going to be. And too many times we say, well, okay, God, I'm here and I trust you and I believe you. But, and God says, I don't need any but people. I need some people who are for real. Because anytime you include God in a sentence of but, there's a sense of doubt in your mind. And God says, I'm not dealing with people with a sense of doubt. I'm dealing with people who wants to shout my name. But through the pain, through the suffering, through the heartache, through any of the things you went through this virus, God says right now that through all of this is still a process. I dealt with so much, and I'm talking to someone. Like I said, I'm not worried about the viewers because I just want the word to seep out. But through all of this, I felt the need to come and talk to you, even if it's for 20 or 30 minutes. But I felt the need to come talk to you because Joseph is some of us today and some of us many years ago, because we said, well, a lot of people harmed us. And if we're being honest, if people, especially our brothers and siblings, if they sold us into captivity and they did all these things to us, we wouldn't forgive them. We wouldn't try to help them even if they tried to harm us. We wouldn't try to heal them even if they try to hurt us. If we're being honest, the flesh of us will eat them up. We will try to put them lower than what they try to put us. But Joseph knew what God was taking him, so he said, okay, God, I'm not going to look down on them. I'm not going to hate them. I'm going to give them something to eat, and I'm still going to bless them along their journey. They didn't even realize who their brother was until Joseph finally revealed himself. And God says, hey, and through the presence of some people, the people who I told you weren't going to be in your life, but you still tried to talk to them, God said, I'm going to reveal them in front of you. And they're not going to know who you are because you're going to be made new. They look at you funny now because you're going to church. They look at you funny now because you put the drinks down. They look at you funny now because you put the weed down. But God says, I'm all around and I see everything and I know everything. But through the pain, it's still a process. Somebody right now saying, okay, well, I'm doing it. How do I stop? And I'm smoking or I'm drinking because I'm dealing with this and I'm dealing with that. Baby, I came to tell you right now that you just got to put it down and get on your knees and pray to God. No one is perfect. No one. And I'm here to clear that up. No one is perfect. People think, well, just because this person is here and this person is here, that they have no strife in their life. But right now, you have to understand something, that God is only going to work if you allow him. As I'm riding to work and as I'm looking out the window, I see a lot of construction jobs, and I see on the fence, it's a small white piece of paper. And if you go up to the fence, it's a contract and it's an oath that says, okay, if allowed, we will work in this place. Somebody gonna miss that. They're gonna go back and they're gonna look at it and they're gonna say what happened. But and a lot of times we say, okay, well, God, I trust you, but I don't want to give this up. Or God, I need you, but I know this is gonna have to go away in my life. God says, hey, look, I'm only gonna work if you allow me to work. I'm only going to fix your heart if you allow me to fix your heart. But the thing is, while you going through your dirt and while you're dealing with your mess and while you're backbiting and lying and conniving, God still loves you because he sees the better in you that the people don't see. Can I be honest? Before I close this off, can I be honest? Can I be honest tonight, Instagram? Dealing with associates, dealing with friends, and dealing with other people, I found myself conforming to what they wanted me to do. And as long as I was going out, as long as I was hanging out, as long as I was drinking, as long as I was gambling, as long as I was smoking what they wanted me to smoke, as long as I was making jokes of what they wanted me to joke about, it was all fine. But the moment I chose the path to follow God, everybody put their hands up. Nah, I can't be with you, man. Nah, I can't do this. And I begin to invite people, but God says, hey, look, if they treat you like this at this point, they weren't really your friends from the start. And too many times we forget that when God places you in a higher place, God says, okay, I'm going to put a microscope on the people that you thought was for you. And watch how they treat you when they see where I'm putting you. We get scared because God has taken us to a place of no pain, a place of no worry, a place of no regret. And we say, well, okay, God, I know I'm still going to have to deal with some stuff. But through that pain, it's still a process. Through any of that, it's still a process. But God says, okay, well, I need you to trust me. And I need you to understand me. I don't know who I'm talking to right now, but somebody watching this and somebody dealing with something, you have to understand that God is not only going to work in your life, he's going to do something transforming in your life. But you first must allow him. Joseph was sold into slavery by his own brothers. That should tell you something. Family members will clap for you and root for you as long as you're on the same level they on. But the moment you surpass, they put their hands up. They put their hands in their pocket and they begin to judge. I don't know how they got that. I don't know how they got this. They must be doing something wrong. But you have to tell them, or you have to make a PSA announcement that say, hey, God granted me this and he will grant me more. I just told somebody a week ago, hey, look, I'm not scamming. I'm not tricking people. I'm not doing any of that. So it may take me a little longer. But I'm willing to go through the process, even if it's painful, because I know God will still bring me through. Somebody right now, if you haven't tuned in, if you haven't watched, if you haven't followed, I'm asking that you do it right now. And you really listen to this word and you really soak it up, because God not only blessed through the pain, he had a purpose through the pain. And too many times we forget our purpose because we feel like our purpose isn't worth enough. We feel like, well, my dad was a crook, or my mom worked fast food, so that's all I'm gonna do. But God is breaking generational curses. But God says, hey, when you allow me to break the yoke, that's when I begin to break it. When you allow me to work in your life, that's when I begin to work it. But too many times we say, well, okay, God, you gonna do it and I trust you, but I'm scared because I don't know the end result. And that's when faith comes in. Because the end result may be you losing some people. The end result may be some people leaving your way. The end result may be you going to a place where you're not familiar with. But God says, hey, look, all you need to know that I am here with you. Somebody right now in the comments say, trust God, allow God, thank God, understand God. When you go back and watch this, when you go back and read this, when you go back and see this, understand that God is not only going to do something in your life, but through the pain, through the hate, through the malice, through people lying on you, through being cheated on, through being a baby dad or a baby mom, and through all of that, through all of the pain of the world, it's still a process in God. Thank you.